Welcome back to No Huddle, everyone. The show where I'll be keeping up and predicting everything about the NFL season. Week 1 is in the books, and oh my God, what a start to football we just had. 16 games to cover, and most of them were pretty action-packed, so let's just get right into it. Football is truly back. The season started with the Eagles beating the Cowboys 24-20, and right from the get-go, we saw Jalen Carter get ejected for stupidly spitting on Dak Prescott. Like, what are you doing, man? Like, you just can't be doing that. And the Eagles really suffered. That defense was very, very underwhelming. They were committing countless penalties. They were letting the Cowboys dominate them on the run. And overall, both offenses were going kind of band for band all the way up until the third quarter. I think the Eagles were able to keep the lead because I think Jalen Hurts, in my opinion, was the best player on the field, at least on the Eagles' offensive side of the ball. It was 24-20. They were trading blows, like I was just saying. And then after Miles Sanders fumbled, it was recovered by Quinyon Mitchell. There was a lightning delay. And the game just kind of died after that. There was basically nothing of note after that in like the last quarter, apart from CeeDee Lamb dropping like 4 passes and A.J. Brown finally getting his first catch. But overall, good win for the Eagles, and I could be a little bit more optimistic on the Cowboys because they stayed competitive. But that Eagles defense really, really concerns me for future matchups. Like, I really hope this isn't just another 2023 version of the Eagles defense because that one was kind of atrocious. Maybe Jalen Carter will fix it, but we'll just have to see. Now to the Brazil game on Friday night. The Chiefs fell to the Chargers 27-21. And this was a really, really entertaining game. Honestly, more entertaining than Thursday night. And Justin Herbert, he played an absolutely sensational game. I said in my predictions video that he needed to have a clean game for them to win. And my God, he definitely had that. He threw for over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, amazing completion percentage. One of the best games I've ever seen him play in the NFL. Quentin Johnston and Keenan Allen were making catches. Like, overall, the Chargers' passing offense was practically perfect. Their running game was very lackluster, but I think that's something that they can fix as they go with Greg Roman and Jim Harbaugh still being there. The Chiefs, on the other hand, I think they have a little bit more concerns. Their defense did not look very good, and their offense still lacks those explosive guys. Now that Xavier Worthy might be out, Travis Kelce's older, their biggest deep threat is right now Tyquan Thornton. And they basically relied on Mahomes becoming vintage Mahomes once again for them to stay in it. He was making key runs. He was making insane plays in the second half specifically. But overall, it just wasn't enough. And without a actual weapon and the Chiefs defense not being very good, like, I don't think Mahomes can play hero ball all year long and they're going to win another Super Bowl. They definitely need to address some things, whether it's to make a trade or just fix that defense, because I don't know. It could be scary hours for the Chiefs, and this division is incredibly stacked as we saw this week. Moving on to the Sunday slate of games, and we have the Colts upsetting, maybe in quotations, the Dolphins 33-8. What the hell happened in this game? The Dolphins completely laid an egg. There's absolutely nothing positive that the Dolphins got away from this game. Tua looked terrible. Tyreek Hill was over there crying on the sideline, like having a fit, as all wide receivers do usually. Their defense was atrocious. Their coach now might get fired. He's on the hot seat. And the Colts just overall had a Peyton Manning-esque offensive game. Like, this brings us back to the 2000s Colts. Daniel Jones was out here playing like prime Peyton Manning. Like, I really don't know what happened. I don't know if the Colts are going to keep this form up. I still think they're not going to be a very good team. I don't think Daniel Jones is going to play like an all-pro all year long. But this is a very big red flag for the Dolphins because this could be the beginning of the end for this entire core. Tyreek might get traded. Tua might not last a year. Jalen Waddle might get traded. And Mike McDaniel, we might not see him as a coach at the end of this year. And Shane Steichen may have bought himself a little bit more time with his job. Now to one of the games of the week, what should have been the game of the week, the Steelers versus the Jets, 34-32. Definitely not what I expected. I expected a more defensive showcase, but overall, both of these teams completely showed out, at least the offenses. Justin Fields, as a guy who's not a big fan of him, I must admit, he balled out. He was playing like Lamar Jackson out there. He was running all over the place. He was throwing dimes. Like, he had an overall really, really productive day. But Aaron Rodgers, he turned back the clock and he looked like his two-time MVP self that we saw like 4 years ago. He was honestly incredible. And now the Steelers may have some question marks around their defense because apart from the final drive where Jalen Ramsey had that key breakup, the Steelers defense did not look very good. But a really good start for them, especially if Aaron Rodgers can play better than he did with the Jets and he can play better than what Russell Wilson was last season. Like overall, I think the Steelers may just have like not too bad of a season. Obviously not for the long term, but this season they might actually just make the playoffs again and who knows, maybe be more competitive in the wild card round. As for the Jets, Aaron Glenn, shout out to him because I think this team had a lot of heart, and even though they lost, this is one of the more promising Jets losses in a while. Like they shouldn't be looking at the season with a ton of dread now. I think they could actually be a little bit more optimistic that they'll actually be competitive in the future. Now we got another wrong pick that I had. The Panthers folded to the Jaguars 10-26. And this game could have been played in 2024 and I would have not questioned it at all. This just looked like the first half of last year for both of these teams. Trevor Lawrence didn't look incredible. The offense of the Jaguars wasn't so explosive apart from the running game. The running game was really good. Travis Hunter looked good, but this isn't the start to the Offensive Rookie of the Year campaign that I was hoping for. But overall, I just have more questions than answers about the Panthers. Bryce Young looked absolutely terrible, and I don't know. This is his last opportunity. If he just looks like he did in the first 1.5 years of his career and didn't look like the second half of last year, he might be out of the Panthers. He could be out of the NFL. I know it might be an overreaction, but the Panthers just had nothing going for them. They couldn't score, and they couldn't stop the Jaguars from just running all over them. Nothing much to say about the Jaguars in general. I think Liam Cohen is going to do good. Trevor Lawrence should be playing better as the season goes along. But it's a fine start to them. But the Panthers might need to sound the alarm. And I don't know, maybe they need to look at Arch Manning's stock, look at some college film about him. And now we got my hate watch being completed. The Cardinals beating the Saints 20-13. My Saints hate agenda continues. And this was another kind of game that just kind of went through the motions. The Cardinals this game shouldn't have been as close as it was, but the Cardinals were overall just fine on this day. Kyler Murray played fine. Trey Benson and James Conner, I think, are going to be a good running back tandem. And overall, the Saints just kind of stayed in it, even though like there was never really like a concrete chance that they were going to win it. But even still, they had a final drive to tie it. They had like 4 tries to get into the end zone, and they just really couldn't. Spencer Rattler played like Spencer Rattler. And yeah, there's not much to say about this game. I think the Cardinals are going to be good. Their pass rush looked pretty good. And I don't know. This is the Saints should be happy about this. Saints fans should be happy about this because this is just another step for you guys to ruin the number 1 overall pick of the 2026 draft. It's going to be amazing. Now, another game that kind of just went through the motions. The Giants losing to the Commanders 6-21. Russ looked a lot worse than what I thought he was going to look. There could be time for Jackson Dart. He's probably going to start a game sooner rather than later. Who knows? Maybe even Jameis Winston can get some time. But I don't know. That offense just did not look good. Malik Neighbors had some plays, so Russell Wilson wasn't the worst quarterback today, or wasn't the worst quarterback in the entire week. But he didn't look impressive at all. Their defense wasn't all that terrible. Like, it looked promising, kind of like how it did last year. But overall, Jaden Daniels and the Commanders were just too much. And shout out to Deebo Samuel, who actually looked like his past self. This could be a rejuvenation. Maybe we were fooled like James Harden fools all these times where he's not actually fat. He just wanted to get out of the team. He actually looked really, really good. And if he can actually become another semi-explosive weapon, the Commanders could achieve another level in this offense, especially with Terry McLaurin, who I believe is going to be better as the season goes along. But yeah, another game where both of these teams just kind of played as expected. The Giants looked bad, and the Commanders looked like a pretty good playoff team. Now we got a way better game, a way better divisional game. The Buccaneers versus the Falcons. This game was absolute cinema and drama in the dramatic in the fourth quarter. Both of these quarterbacks were playing kind of inaccurate ball. Like Baker Mayfield, was struggling to complete passes early in the game, and Bijan had a really good receiving game, but a really bad rushing game. It was really weird how those roles were kind of switched. But in the end, it was really, really close. Tampa Bay was winning 17-13 until Michael Penix ran it in for a touchdown. I thought he was short for a second, but he was actually in. And then Baker Mayfield led an insane clutch drive. And I forgot his name. It's at the top of my head. But the rookie that they drafted, he was sensational. He got 2 touchdowns and caught the game winner to make it 23-20. And they missed the extra point. And Michael Penix, he actually played pretty well. On Sunday. He led a clutch drive to get them into field goal range. And Younghoe Koo is one of the many kickers that had a couple of problems this week, and he missed the game tire, and Tampa Bay escaped with a win. It was really entertaining. I kind of wish it had gone to overtime, but shout out to Tampa Bay. This game kind of went how I was expecting, that the more experienced team in Tampa Bay was going to get the win, but I think the Falcons should not be that alarmed about this loss. I think they're going to compete in this division. Now we got a more frustrating game. The Bengals beating the Browns 17-16, and the Week 1 Bengals are still here, and they're still trash. This game, the Bengals, oh my God, I hate them. Burrow was getting pressured because his line sucks, like always, but even then, even when he had time, Burrow was not good. Jamar was not good. Higgins wasn't good. Chase Brown was fine. Overall, the Bengals offense was just really, really mediocre. And what really won them this game was their defense and the Browns being the Cleveland Browns. Joe Flacco played well enough to win this game. The Browns should have had 20 points, but once again, the Browns kicker completely messed up all the chances, and he missed the field goal. They failed on 4th down when they were in field goal range, and then he also missed an extra point. All those things combined, they just couldn't break through the 17-point mark, and they let the Bengals escape. But I'm not excited about this Cincinnati team whatsoever. This left me with more questions than answers, and Zach Taylor should still be on the hot seat, in my opinion, and they still need to look at Week 2 with a must-win mentality. I think they play Jacksonville. They can't overlook their opponent, because if they play like this, they're going to get bounced off the field by Jacksonville. And now we got a battle of the more hyped teams of this season, the Raiders versus the Patriots. The Raiders won 20-13, and I hate the Patriots now because they made me fall for the offseason hype after I wasn't believing in it the entire offseason until September hit, and I actually drank the Kool-Aid, so screw you guys for that. But overall, this was kind of the Patriots were just very underwhelming. They looked like the Patriots from last year. Their offense was really kind of dead. Drake May played well, but not amazing. And their running game was just really, really lackluster. Meanwhile, the Raiders offense, even though they only put up 20 points, Geno Smith looked incredible. I once again need to apologize to Geno Smith because I didn't think he had this in him. He was one of the more explosive quarterbacks of the entire week. Behind Justin Herbert and then 2 other quarterbacks that we may talk about, I'm not sure if there were many people that were better than him. So I apologize to Geno Smith, and the Patriots need to figure out how to get into this new Mike Vrabel era because this looked like they were being coached by Gerard Mayo, and that's not a good thing. Now to the late window, we got the San Francisco 49ers beating the Seahawks 17-13. Very underwhelming game from the 49ers. Brock Purdy was fine. He looked okay. Turned the ball over a couple times. George Kittle went out, and now he's on IR, so that'll be a very big concern. But at least Christian McCaffrey, at least his leg didn't absolutely fall out of his body, so that's always a good sign for them. And the Seahawks, the offense just wasn't very good. Sam Darnold didn't look like his Jets form, but definitely didn't look like his Vikings form. He was just kind of average. But even then, they had a chance to win the game before Nick Bosa made a heck of a defensive play. So while I'm not truly upset with the Seahawks, I'm more upset with the 49ers because it took a great defensive play from them losing to a very, very lackluster offense. So this core shouldn't be struggling the way that they struggled, especially with the talented players on offense and defense. Could be a longer year than what I expected from them. Now we got another kind of disappointing game, the Titans versus the Broncos. The Broncos prevailed 20-12, And Cam Ward, if you look at his stats, you would think that he had one of the worst debuts in NFL history. And while he wasn't perfect, he was actually making some pretty good throws that his receivers, they can't catch anything to save their life. We saw the clip of Cam Ward's dad being absolutely depressed at everything that was going on with his son. But even still, they put up 12 points. They didn't score any touchdowns, but they were still in this game. It was always a one-score game. Even after that final touchdown by the Broncos, it was 20-12, and they had one final drive to try and tie it, but they just couldn't do anything because they're the Titans, and they had the first overall pick for a reason. But the Broncos, I'm really disappointed by them. And after this week, if we're overreacting, I would argue that the Chargers have a better opportunity to steal this division than, or at least be a threat to the Chiefs than the Broncos. Bo Nix did not look good. He looked like they tried to take off the training wheels and he fell out of the bike. I don't know. That's a weird metaphor, but they needed to put the training wheels back in him because he was just making really stupid mistakes. He was throwing bad interceptions. He was making bad throws. This is not the Bo Nix that I expected to see him this week, especially against the Titans, who aren't a very good team. If the Broncos want to win a playoff game, which are, I believe, their aspirations for the season, Bo Nix has to play better. I'm not worried about their defense, but that offense needs to look better, in my opinion. They need to step up more. Now the Packers beating the Lions, absolutely blowing them out. I'm excited for this Packers defense. Micah Parsons looked incredible and got a sack. And the defensive attention, or the attention that other offenses have to give him just to try to neutralize him, opens up so many doors for the other playmakers on the defense to make a play. And the offense, I believe, actually looked pretty good. Jordan Love in the first couple drives, in the first half, he was absolutely surgical. Even without Christian Watson, they were just doing whatever they wanted. And the Detroit offense did not look good. There was no explosive plays. The absence of Ben Johnson proved to be critical. Jared Goff did not have a very good game. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery did nothing. And I can't think of a single significant play that they made outside of a garbage time touchdown. So again, if we're overreacting, I think the Packers might be, once again, the big dogs in the NFC North, while the Lions, they do need to pick up their act, try and use this talent properly, because this team shouldn't be getting blown out like this, even if it's against a good Packers team. They're too talented for that. And the final game of the 4 p.m. window, we got the Texans losing to the Rams, sadly proving me wrong in my prediction. 14-9. This game was very low scoring, kind of how I thought it would be, but I just thought that the Texans would prevail because I didn't realize how terrible that Texans offensive line is. I knew they were bad, but I somehow underestimated how bad they are. CJ Stroud had absolutely no time to throw because Byron Young was absolutely bullying the Texans line. And Stafford had a decent game against that defense, only put up 14 points, but overall Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams looked pretty good to me. And the offense just did enough because CJ Stroud, he couldn't do anything. They ran the ball decently, but Nico Collins had absolutely no groove whatsoever. And I feel really bad for CJ Stroud because even though he's not perfect, really there are very few quarterbacks that can thrive with that protection. So they need to address that. I'm pretty sure their center just went down for a while, and they have to play Tampa Bay next, who has Vita Vea on their defensive line. So I'm praying for CJ Stroud, and the Texans fans need to pray for him that he actually lasts the whole season, because Jesus Christ, he's going to get sacked like Caleb Williams level. And now the game that we all want to talk about, the Bills versus the Ravens. Absolute cinema. One of the best games, probably the best game of the year already. It's going to be the best game of the year. One of the best games in the 2020s. One of the best games that I've seen since I started watching football. 41-40. That's absolutely insane. The game was starting with the Ravens. Actually, no, not even the game started. The game was going for the first 50 minutes. The Ravens were running the Bills out their own stadium. Derrick Henry and Lamar were playing right like they were from last year. Derrick Henry was bullying the Bills defense. Lamar Jackson was doing basically anything he wanted, and they tuned to a 40-25 lead. 15-point lead with around 5 minutes to go. And while Josh Allen wasn't playing bad, he was trying to fight for every single yard that they needed. And with 5 minutes to go, Josh Allen turned into the Terminator. That's all that happened. He threw a touchdown, then Derrick Henry fumbled out of nowhere. Bills got another touchdown, and then after the Ravens inexplicably punted instead of going for it, Josh Allen led one more drive like he did at the end of the first half to win the game. And it was just a dramatic ending. Josh Allen, in my opinion, proved why he was the MVP from last year, because he can turn something out of nothing. Other quarterbacks can do that too, but I think Josh Allen has just proved that he can do that over the past 2 years. He's just such a special player, and he's such a special quarterback, a unique talent. As far as the Ravens go, this just raises some questions as if they still have that clutch, if they have that clutch edge at all to win these games, because they have the gene that chokes away these games, and they need to ditch that and get the gene that actually wins them these games. That's how the Chiefs and the Patriots were able to win all these Super Bowls in their years. If the Ravens want to win a Super Bowl, the roster isn't enough. They need that clutch gene, and right now they have a choking gene. And the Bills, literally, we know that no team is a problem for them except Kansas City. So it's just them proving once again why, in my opinion, they're the second best team in the AFC once again. They're never going to leave that spot. And then to end off the week, we got the Vikings versus the Bears, 27-24. This was kind of like the Bills-Ravens game, obviously not as entertaining, but it was still in the sense that the comeback just kind of came out of nowhere. The Vikings offense was absolute trash for the first 3 quarters. Even the Bears offense, it was good for a quarter, but then the last 3, it was kind of mundane. J.J. McCarthy was looking like Ryan Leaf out there. He was looking terrible. The Bears defense was suffocating them. And then in the fourth quarter, everything switched, and by the snap of a finger, the Vikings went from being 17-6 down to being up 27-17. J.J. McCarthy threw 2 touchdowns, and then he ran for another. Kevin O'Connell, I don't know what he said to him after the pick 6, which was a pretty bad pick 6, by the way. I don't know what he told him, but it just flipped the switch, and he all of a sudden turned back into his Michigan form. So shout out to the Vikings, because I think that version of J.J. McCarthy will win them a lot of games, just like Sam Darnold won them a lot of games last year. Kevin O'Connell's just such a good quarterback coach. As far as the Bears go, very underwhelming start in the Ben Johnson era. Caleb Williams wasn't incredible after starting 10 of 10. He was very inaccurate afterwards. He was missing throws. He was throwing hospital passes. And while he did throw for another touchdown, he was scrambling really well. This isn't the Bears offense that I think the Bears were expecting to. All that offseason champion hype still hasn't produced anything in the last 3 years. I hope it's just not another long year for the Bears. I think they're going to be better than they were last year, but this is not the start that they were hoping for, to say the least. And that was all 16 games of week 1. What a start to the NFL season, man. And we're only getting started. We still got another 20 weeks of football to enjoy. I can't wait to see what the rest of the season unfolds. But if you enjoyed this, please subscribe and please like this video, as I really appreciate any and all support. And at this time tomorrow, you'll see me predict all the week 2 games. Then I'll react to all the week 2 games next week, predict week 3, and so on and so forth, all the way to Super Bowl 60. Once again, if you enjoyed this video, thank you, and I'll see you all in